Good evening to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is an important editorial. It is all about the budget allocation towards renewable sources of energy, electric vehicles. And today, when we talk about the environment, we talk about pollution, extinction of species, deforestation. There are so many problems. So the editorial starts with going green, and it means we also talk about eco-friendly products, eco-friendly services. All these come under green initiatives. So today's editorial is very important because you may get this or related to this as a passage either in prelims or in mains. So that way it is an important editorial. Any article related to environment is important. That too, this editorial goes with Indian economy at the same time, environment. And there are a lot of words you can learn from today's editorial. Let us start the session with editorial vocabulary. The first word, transition. This word could be, I'm sorry, the first word could be, it can be a noun, it can be a verb, but meaning is the same. To change or make someone or something change. Transition from one form to another form, from one shape to another shape. Noteworthy, an important word, part of speech adjective. It means deserving attention because of being important or interesting or useful. Noteworthy and related word laudable, something that is highly appreciable. Viability, this is again an important word. It goes with business context. When we talk about a particular project, we use the expression whether it is commercially viable or not. A particular project can be commercially viable or commercially not viable. So, part of speech noun viability, ability to work as intended or to succeed. So, viable means it may succeed commercially. Not viable, it may not succeed. Crucial, a simple word, adjective, extremely important or necessary. Something very important, crucial. Appetite actually goes with food. The feeling of wanting or needing something. In a way, in this context, it means desire. Appetite for something means desire for something. Propel, usually it goes with a vehicle, and to push or move something somewhere, often with a lot of force, move forward usually. Part of speech verb. Surge, it can be a noun, it can be a verb. A sudden and great increase. We have got this word many a time. Surge also means a sudden forward movement. Surge. Exponential, usually it goes with growth. Exponential, part of speech adjective. An exponential rate of increase becomes quicker and quicker as the thing that increases becomes larger. It is nothing but exponential growth means sudden rapid growth. Rapid growth, we use that word, an important word. Then we have the word imperative. Even this word we have got many a time. Extremely important or urgent. Something that is important, something that is required. Leverage, an important word. It has been given many a time. It has got different meanings. One of the meanings in this context, to use something that you already have in order to achieve something new or better. I also say leverage also means to take the maximum advantage of something. But do remember it has got other meanings. Catalyze, catalyst, it's a chemical term, part of speech verb, to make something start happening or start being successful. You make something happen, then we use a term, catalyst, catalyze. Catalyze is a verb form. Poised, an important word. Poised means part of speech adjective, ready to do a particular thing at any moment. You're ready to do something, then we say you're poised to achieve success. Takeoff has got different meanings. A typical meaning, takeoff, part of speech, here it has been used as a noun, but actually it is a phrasal verb. Takeoff, phrasal verb. As a phrasal verb, it has got three or four meanings. The typical meaning, remove, take off your shoes. Another meaning of take off, it goes with aeroplanes. To leave the runway or to become airborne, the plane took off. But here in this context, it also goes with a business context. To suddenly start to be successful or popular, the business has taken off, a typical expression. Indigenous, an important word we have got many a time. Usually it goes with people. We use a combination indigenous people. At the same time, it goes with companies and industries. We also say indigenous companies, indigenous industries, meaning not foreign or from outside an area. In a way, part of speech adjective, indigenous means local or native. When you talk about people, indigenous people, you have to recollect words like native people, original inhabitants, aboriginals, all these words you have to recollect. Heartening, part of speech adjective, making you feel happier and more positive. Exemption from taxes, a typical combination I'm sure you all know. Exempt is a verb form, exemption noun. To excuse someone or something from a duty, payment, etc. You are exempted, means you don't have to do. Aboriginals, exactly. Philip, it could be a noun. Usually it is used as a noun. Something that causes a sudden improvement. And it goes with the verb give. Give a fillip to something or someone. Industry, especially. Set up a phrasal verb. To formally establish a new company, organization, system, way of working, etc. They have set up a new company. An example. Peak, I'm sure you all know, the highest, strongest, or best point, value, or level of skill. The highest, we use the term peak of success, peak of something. Evacuation, evacuate, verb form, evacuation, noun form. The act of moving people from a dangerous place to somewhere safe. Whenever there is a natural disaster or catastrophe and a mishap, people are evacuated. A fire accident, people are evacuated. That means what? They are moved to a safer place, and usually they go to a rehabilitation center. Integration, we always talk about national integration, the action or process of successfully joining or mixing with a different group of people, different things or different people. Barren goes with land, barren land, part of speech adjective, unable to produce plants or fruit. Fertile, opposite, barren. Array, an important word, part of speech noun, a large group of things or people, especially one that is attractive. Array of something. Hurdle, we have got many a time. A problem that you have to deal with before you can make progress. You have to recollect words like hurdle, block, impediment. All these are synonyms. Remoteness, remote, it has many meanings. And in this context, the fact of being far away in distance. We also use the word isolated. These are the words from today's editorial. Before I go to the analysis, this analysis is purely from English proficiency point of view. That one has to remember. And whatever you see in red, the words they go with effective English. Whatever underlined goes with grammar. Bottleneck also you can say. That you have to keep in mind. Going green. Today we talk about going green, green initiatives, green lifestyle, green products, green services. What does it mean? Something that is good for the environment, something that does not cause pollution. So going green in the context of the budget. On budget 2023 is an India's net zero commitment. India has committed net zero and net zero commitment by 2070. Keeping that in mind, the budget allocation. But what is the main idea of this editorial? The budget can help India transition out of its dependence on fossil fuels. As I said, when we talk about environment, we talk about different dimensions like, or facets like, or aspects like pollution, climate change, and greenhouse gases, fossil fuels, and we also talk about deforestation, extinction of species. All these are problems we have been facing. So here, the budget can help India transition. Transition can be a noun, it can be a verb. Means what? Change. In this context, it means come out of. The budget can help India come out of its dependence on fossil fuels. Whether it is a developed country or a developing country, a lot of countries depend on fossil fuels, which are also known as non renewable sources of energy or conventional sources of energy. But because they cause a lot of pollution, today we are looking at non conventional sources of energy or renewable sources of energy. What comes under non conventional sources of energy or renewable sources of energy? We have solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy, and also now in this context, in the context of the editorial, we have electric vehicles. There are two dimensions. One is energy resources, the other one is use of electric vehicles to reduce the impact on the environment, negative impact on the environment. So the budget can help India transition or come out of its dependence on fossil fuels. Dependence on fossil fuels is not good for the country, not good for the environment, because we have to import and we have to spend a lot of money. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's latest budget is noteworthy. So, what is the subject? What is the sentence about? The budget, the latest budget presented by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. This budget is noteworthy. There's one important word, and the sentence is in present tense. Here, can help that talks about the ability. He is noteworthy, it is in present tense, it's a fact. So, noteworthy means what? Part of speech adjective, deserving attention because of being important or interesting. Worth considering, that's what it means. So, why is it noteworthy? For the emphasis she has laid on the government's commitment to move towards net zero carbon emission by 2070. India has committed by 2070 net zero carbon emission, and this particular budget, and she has laid emphasis on the emphasis she has laid on the government's commitment to move towards net zero carbon emission by 2070. Here, she has laid on whatever you see underlined, important from grammar point of view. I told yesterday also, lie, lay. There are two verbs which come under confusing verbs. Lie can be a noun, it can be a regular verb, it can be an irregular verb. As an irregular verb, it is important from the exam point of view. Lie, lay, lain. But we have another verb, lay, laid, laid, to spread something or to put something down. And this goes with rules, regulations, roads, foundation stone, eggs, especially, all these. So, emphasis she has laid on what? The government's commitment. The government has committed to move towards net zero carbon emission by 2070. So the budget allocation is in that direction, and it shows that the government is committed. As an article presented at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos last month notes, sometimes students ask me, sir, can we use in the same sentence different tenses? If you look at this sentence carefully, as an article presented it, here it is in past. What is the reason? The time goes into the past, last month. But notes, here the verb is in present. There are two different ideas. One, the article was presented last month, so it is in past. But as a matter of fact, article notes, that goes with present tense. As an article presented at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos last month notes, India holds the key to hitting global climate change targets given its sizable and growing energy needs. India holds the key. This is also in present tense because the subject is third person singular. We have added S to the verb. India holds the key to hitting global climate change targets. What is the reason? Given its sizable and growing energy needs. India is a pretty big country and population, a lot of people. Obviously, our energy needs not small scale but large scale. Because of that, India holds the key to hitting global climate change targets given its sizable and growing energy needs. We do have. If you take India is a developing country, any developing country, for that matter, developed countries also, we focus on industrialization and also we focus on using developing the infrastructure. So energy is an important component, and growing energy needs. We need a lot of energy. With the country's population set to overtake China sometime this year, India's appetite for energy, more people, we need more energy. India's appetite for energy to propel the economy is set to surge exponentially with the country's population. So here India holds the key. What is the reason? The needs are more sizable and growing energy needs. That is one idea. And to substantiate that, with the country's population set to overtake China sometime this year. So India is going to overtake China sometime this year. India's appetite for energy. The word appetite actually goes with food. What does it mean? The feeling of wanting or needing something. In a way, it means desire. So India's desire for energy, we need a lot of energy. So the desire is there, it can be justified. India's appetite for energy to propel. Why do we need energy to propel? Propel, again, it means to push or move something somewhere. But in this context, move forward. To propel the economy is set to surge exponentially. Is set means ready to surge. Surge means a sudden increase. That is one meaning. Another meaning of surge, sudden forward movement, exponentially, to grow rapidly. The transition to green alternatives. So, what is happening right now? Dependence on fossil fuels not a good idea. Slowly, we have to go towards renewable sources of energy and also electric vehicles, so that we don't have to we may not pollute the environment, and we can bring down the pollution levels. The transition change, the transition to green alternatives. What are the green alternatives? Electric vehicles, renewable sources of energy like solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy, all these. The transition to green alternatives from the current reliance on fossil fuels is therefore an urgent, that is a fact, so it is in present, imperative. It is therefore imperative. The transition is imperative towards the green initiatives or green renewable sources of energy or electric vehicles. What is the meaning of the word imperative? Something that is important, extremely important, or urgent. And an opportunity to leverage this move. Here, what is happening? We have to move towards green technologies, eco friendly or sustainable practices, and it provides an opportunity. It is a need at the same time, it provides an opportunity to leverage, take the maximum advantage of. That's what it means. This move, what is that opportunity to catalyze new industries, to make new industries come into existence, generate jobs on a sizable scale, large scale, and add to overall economic output. We have to move from one dependence on fossil fuels to renewable sources of energy and electric vehicles. And this transition provides an opportunity to leverage. What is that opportunity? To bring up or to encourage new industries, generate jobs in a sizable scale, and also add to overall economic output. In a nod to this, to this particular idea, Budget 23-24 devoted a fair amount of space. So here it is in past, and this is an important phrase, a fair amount of space to the green industrial and economic transition needed. As I said, the editorial is about the transition, dependence on fossil fuels towards dependence on renewable sources of energy, dependence on electric vehicles. And if they go in that direction, what will happen? Green industries will come into existence. At the same time, economy will also go in a different direction. It will change, transition, change needed. With the electric vehicle revolution poised to take off, now editorial focuses on electric vehicles. With the electric vehicle revolution poised to take off, poised here means ready to take off. Here, takeoff has a different meaning. It means to become successful. As every automobile major rolls out new EV models to tap demand. Right now, there's a lot of demand for electric vehicles. Based on that, automobile industries, they're ready to roll out new EV models, and this is like electric vehicle revolution that is going to take off. What is the impact of that? The availability of indigenously produced lithium ion batteries has become a necessity, especially to lower the cost of EVs. Today, the cost of electric vehicles, it is a bit on the higher side. And usually we think in terms of affordability, how to bring down, how to make it affordable. Then we have to come up with indigenously produced lithium ion batteries. It has become a necessity. We should not import, we have to produce indigenously, means what? Locally. Keeping that in mind, the budget hearteningly proposes to exempt customs duty on the import of capital goods. Here there are two words: hearteningly. Heartening, part of speech adjective, and indigenously adverb, hearteningly adverb. Means what? Making you feel happier and more positive. Hearteningly proposes to exempt. Exempt, noun form exemption. To excuse someone or something from a duty, payment, etc. In this context, exempt customs duty on the import of capital goods and machinery required to manufacture lithium ion cells used in EV batteries. Electric vehicles, obviously batteries, and these batteries, they need lithium ion cells. Right now they're being imported, and the government is going to propose exemption on customs duty on import of capital goods and machinery required to manufacture lithium cells used in electric vehicle batteries. This ought to, so what is the impact of this? This ought to give a fillip to local companies. There is one important helping verb over here, ought to. This has become outdated actually, but still it is being used in the western part of the world, outdated, but here still being used. Ought to means to advise or suggest someone. This ought to give a fillip. They should give a fillip. Fillip means encouragement to local companies looking to set up EV battery plants. So this will definitely encourage the local or the companies looking to set up EV battery plants. Another key proposal relates to the establishment of, relates to, it is in present tense. Another key proposal relates to the establishment of a viability gap funding mechanism. Viability means feasibility. Commercially viable means commercially feasible. Viability gap funding mechanism. Usually, what happens when you establish a company, it should be commercially viable. And at the outset, you know it is not going to be commercially viable. Some gap, it is going to be, there is going to be some gap. And for that, towards that gap, the government funds. And that will definitely help the industries. So another key proposal relates to the establishment of a viability gap funding mechanism to support the creation of battery energy storage systems with a capacity of 4,000 megawatts. So, to support the creation of battery energy storage systems, here there's one more dimension: battery energy storage systems. We produce energy and we have to store that energy. For that, also, we need the infrastructure. This sentence is about that. Energy storage systems are crucial in power grid stabilization and essential as India increases its reliance on alternative sources of power generation, including solar and wind. So, this sentence is about the importance of energy storage systems are crucial. This is again in present in power grid stabilization and essential. Why is it essential? As India increases its reliance on alternative sources of power generation, like solar, wind, all these, including solar and wind. With wind turbine farms and solar photovoltaic projects, characteristically produces of variable electric supply. What is this variable electric supply? If you take wind, every time you can't expect the same intensity. You can't expect wind all the time. The same way, if you take solar energy during winter, you don't have that. So, to the extent it is required, based on that variable, battery storage systems become enablers of ensuring the electricity these generators produce at the peak output. So, during the peak output, they produce a lot of energy. Battery storage systems become enablers of ensuring the electricity these generators produce at their peak output is stored. So the peak output, that time a lot of energy is produced, and that should be stored. Battery storage systems can store that energy and then supply to match the demand arriving at the grid from household or industrial consumers. See, when I'm doing the analysis, please focus on the analysis. Don't ask questions out of the framework. That will be a distraction for me. If you want to ask something outside this framework, send a message, then I will respond. But when I'm doing the analysis, please focus on the analysis. Don't ask questions outside the framework of editorial analysis. Now, the next one, Sitaraman also set aside a vital 8,300 crore towards a 20,700 crore project for building an interstate transmission system. One thing is storage, another thing is transmission. So 20,700 crore project for building an interstate transmission system for the evacuation and grid integration of 13 gigawatts of renewable energy from Ladakh. This is again another project, and how much has been allotted. The sentence is about that. With its vast stretches of barren land, barren means not productive, opposite fertile. With its vast stretches of barren land and one of the country's highest levels of sunlight availability, Ladakh is considered an ideal location to site photovoltaic arrays for producing a substantial capacity of solar power. More sunlight is received, then obviously we can generate more solar energy. So this is an ideal place. The transmission line will help. This is in future tense. The transmission line will help address or deal with. Here, address means to deal with. What had so far been the hurdle? So far, something has been the hurdle. Hurdle means what? A block, impediment in setting up solar capacity in the region. So, this is going to remove that hurdle given its remoteness. So, why is it a hurdle? Because of its remoteness, isolated from India's main power grid. And transmission line will help address that problem. That's how the editorial ends. An important editorial, and you have to read once, twice to understand thoroughly. Let us go to questions based on today's editorial, comprehension based questions. What is this editorial about? I strongly recommend write about this editorial in brief in your own sentences. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's latest budget is noteworthy for what? It is noteworthy. What is the reason for what? What is set to surge exponentially in the context of the editorial? In the context of the editorial, something is going to surge exponentially. What is that? You have to. You can easily write the answers, but make sure when you write the answers, you write the complete sentences which are grammatically correct with the subject, verb, object, everything. Budget 2023-24 devoted a fair amount of space to what? The keywords. The budget has devoted a fair amount of space to something. What is that? So when you navigate, look for these words, then you can find the answer. What does the budget hearteningly propose to exempt? The budget proposes to exempt something. What is that? Do write the answers. That will help in the long run. Let us go to editorial vocabulary, test your word power based on today's 20 plus words. Some of these words are important. Appetite. First, you have to write the part of speech, then you have to write the meaning. Now, I have got time to look at the comments. I will try to respond. Basic classes, I will be starting soon. Foundation course, concepts related to grammar. Please wait till Monday. Then you'll come to know. Who is this? I hope you got the answer. I'll be starting two sessions. One goes with grammar, basic concepts, the other related to vocabulary from banks and SSC point of view, especially SSC point of view. First one, appetite, part of speech, noun, that's right. What does it mean? The feeling of wanting or needing something. You can say desire for something. Try to use other words as well. That way you can consolidate. Answer is D. Propel, part of speech, verb. If one student responds, then I will write here. Verb, that's right. It's a regular verb. What does it mean? To push something using a lot of force. Push forward. That you have to keep in mind. Answer is F. Third one, verb. It could also be a noun. There was a surge in the number of cases. Then noun. The number of cases has surged. Then it is a verb. So write both verb, noun. What does it mean? A sudden increase, one meaning. A sudden forward movement, another meaning. So answer is F. That's right. Some students have answered. Go to the fourth one. Exponential growth. See, here I would like to suggest, while doing the analysis from proficiency point of view, I use a lot of synonyms, I use the word combinations, I use the word forms. Do focus on those, because in the exam they ask questions based on word forms, word combinations. These two are very important, and also word usage. I also touch that dimension. Do listen very carefully. And I said typical combination, exponential growth, that you have to remember and use in the exam in the descriptive paper. It definitely, you will get more marks. Obviously, when you say exponential growth, growth noun, exponential adjective. Here you have to write adjective. And no, no way. Who is this? Kirti Suresh. My last session on October 29th last year. I could not take for 3 months, November, December, Jan, and I've been taking since Feb 1st. This is a fourth session, today being fourth. So, what does it mean? Rising or expanding at a steady rate or growing rapidly? So, I is the answer. Have you answered that? 4I, very good. Oh, you have gone to the fifth one. So, here we have Thapa, Nirmala Mala, they have answered fifth one. Imperative. Part of speech, noun. And what does it mean? Extremely important or urgent. Something extremely important or urgent. Answer is A. Leverage, it could be a verb, it could be a noun. An important word. Yes. Imperative for me, imperative in the context, based on the situation. Something is imperative. Leverage means what? To take maximum advantage of something. Use something to a great extent. Very good, Ravi Yadav. You could say that also. Answer is C is the answer. Poised. Poised, we also say balanced. But in this context, it means ready to do something. Poised to take off means ready to take off. So part of speech, adjective. Seventh one is we use it as an adjective. Poised company means adjective. Means what? Answer is seventh one. Have you answered? Ready to do a particular thing, ready to do something, ready to launch, ready to do. Yes. Answer is J. Indigenous, an important word. Do remember, indigenously adverb, indigenous adjective. And two typical combinations: indigenous people, indigenous tribes, indigenous industries, indigenous companies. Means what? Native or local, not foreign. Answer is B. Exempt verb, exemption noun. And here, exempt. Are you getting the video? What does it mean? Excuse someone from paying something or doing something. Answer is E. Philip, part of speech, noun. What does it mean? What are you left with? Cause a sudden improvement. Philip, you can also think of the word encourage. Give a Philip means give the encouragement. All clear? Fine. So what is that? What are you left with? G. Cause a sudden improvement. You can also think of encourage. Tomorrow there's no session, Ramesh. The reason being, Sundays you don't get. If you read the Hindu paper, you will come to know no editorial on Sundays. They don't publish the editorial. Do remember, editorials are only from Monday to Saturday. So tomorrow, don't expect the editorial session. You don't see an editorial in the Hindu paper. Obviously, I cannot take the session. As simple as that. So thanks for being with me till the fag end of the session. I hope you guys have got enriched. And someone wanted to know wanted the questions, practice questions. From Monday, I'm going to bring practice questions based on exam topics. That's all for today. Good night to all of you. Have a nice weekend. I will see you on Monday, not tomorrow. Do remember.